Assalamu alaikum and welcome to day 28 of our How to Read Quran series, a program on the Quranology Institute's YouTube channel. Today I will be discussing chapter groups. And chapter groups is something which is rarely discussed in Quranic discourse. Reason is, Quran is often seen as something which was compiled together after the death of Prophet Muhammad. Now if you look at Quran itself, this is simply not true. Quran calls itself a kitab. And one of the definitions of kitab is something which is put together. And if it's put together, it has to be put together in the time of the Prophet himself, or the factions, Sunnis and Shiites, would have totally disagreed as to the contents of Quran, let alone the arrangements. Even the contents they wouldn't agree. But no, Quran was already instituted as dhikr. Dhikr is something which is constantly recited, memorized and disseminated. That's why we have a single Quran today. And that single Quran is undisputed among the Ahl al-Dhikr, who are essentially the Sunnis and Shiites. So when you look at chapter arrangements and you ask yourself, why does Fatiha come in front? Why does Baqarah come after that? You must think to yourself, there is a reason for it. And our job is to discover that reason. Why? Not just for aesthetic purposes, no. Rather, our job is to discover why so that we may apply it. And I've been doing this for the first, or rather the second 4 chapters, which are Baqarah, Ali Imran, An-Nisa and Al-Maidah, for a number of years now. And I can tell you this, Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran, I believe they are twins, but they have a very particular relationship. And that relationship is the accelerated version relationship. Baqarah gives you the theory of utopia, i.e. how to establish the garden on earth, a fulfilling polity for everyone. Ali Imran tells you how to do it, but from the perspective of the messenger. Who is that messenger? Isa. That's why Isa is told later on in Surah Maryam, he says, he's the only one who says this in the first person, by the way. Salamun alayya yawma wulidtu wa yawma amutu wa yawma ubathun hayya. Peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I die, and the day I will be raised. So he is, if you read his story, you will see how he brings the project of Al-Baqarah to life. So when you read, I like to read Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran together. I think they are a marvelous display of the conceptual power of Quran. It is the same with An-Nisa and Al-Maidah. An-Nisa outlines the program for the system of peace and justice. And one of the key verses in An-Nisa is the address to those who have received the command. Ya ayyuhalladhina utul kitab. That's unique to An-Nisa. And Al-Maidah is the accelerated version of that. And it has the only 2 calls to the Rasul. Ya ayyuhar Rasul. Verse 41 and verse 67. You see? So if you read Al-Baqarah to Al-Maidah, what you will have are 2 different angles to the Quranic version of utopia, as well as the accelerated versions thereof. So, essentially you will have a very holistic view of that utopia. It's the same with An'am to Anfal Tawbah. Anfal Tawbah, I see it as 1 chapter, chapter 8/9. An'am is about the various aspects of Tawheed, so-called monotheism. That's why Ibrahim appears many or a few times in that chapter. A'raf gives you the perspective of Tawheed as it manifests in the utopian version of Adam. It has 4 calls to Bani Adam, Ya Bani Adam. Anfal Tawbah gives you the life cycle of that system. How do you establish a system of peace, and how do you protect it from being destroyed? And basically the key principle is the flow of wealth. The flow of wealth must come down and must trickle down to the masses. So you see, there is an arrangement to these 3 chapters. It's, I would say, the best example of this chapter arrangement thing, chapter grouping, is from chapters 57, Al-Hadid, all the way to 114, which is An-Nas, where you can see summaries of Quranic ideas. Whereas the first 56 chapters up to Al-Waqi'ah, they are expositionary. 57 to 114 are summaries. So God knows that you don't have time all the time to read long chapters, so He gives you bits and bobs, part by part. Al-Hadid up to chapter 66, At-Tahrim, is the system of peace and justice. It's almost the same as chapter 8/9. And it just gives you phase by phase so that you can digest it phase by phase. I also think of it as a summary, because you can't process everything at once. Quran gives you, it's like a diamond, multifaceted. You look at it from different angles. And then chapter 67 to 77, Al-Mulk to Al-Mursalat, give you a more personal development approach. It tells you about the metaphysics, for example, in Mulk. Chapter Nuh tells you about establishing the ship. What is the ship? The ship is a means of survival. Al-Jinn, for example, tells you about the highly capable people. Muzammil and Mudathir will tell you about your personal development and how it carries in society. There is, if you care to look, there is a perfect arrangement ready to assist you in your reading. The only thing you have to do is to open your eyes and say, okay, there is a reason for this. And when you are convinced there is a reason, you will see the thematic flow. So, I mean, that's basically it. I can't get into very much more without going into detail. So I hope I can see you again for the subject of Isa tomorrow. Bye.